Hi everyone, it's Makoto Trotter, naturopathic doctor, and I'm here to talk to you today about acne. I want to give you 5 tips to help you with your skin that's probably stubborn and persistent, and you've tried all sorts of things in the past that may have worked temporarily, but they haven't lasted. The effect hasn't lasted because it's not necessarily treating the cause of the problem. So if you've gone the conventional route, you've probably tried some prescription topical, something drying like benzoyl peroxide, which can help temporarily. It could cause redness if you use it for too long. You can also have used things like clendoxil, something with antibiotics, something with retin-A or one of those derivatives, which again is drying, or there's some antibiotics in it, which can help, but it may not be a long-term solution. Then from there, you might have tried oral antibiotics. The big two are minocycline and doxycycline, maybe for 3 months, 6 months. And then from there, it could be for women, birth control pills. And then of course, the big gun is oral isotretinoin, which is more commonly known as Accutane. You maybe have done a 6 months or a 1-year regime of this back when you were a teenager. And then maybe your acne was great for a year or two after, did a second round possibly. And then it still has come back. And that's very frustrating because it did help at that time, but then it came back later, and sometimes it comes back even worse. But sometimes you could be in your late 20s, 30s, 40s, and still have these problems, and that's very frustrating. Obviously, something else needs to be addressed, which is how naturopathic medicine comes in. And that's when we're trying to deal with the internal health to support your skin on the outside. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about, first tip, number 1, is skincare. So skincare conventionally and historically, even still, was seen as you have to cut out all the oils. No fats, no oils in your products. However, the tide has turned on that. The paradigm has shifted. Instead of just trying to get rid of oil if you have oily skin and not have oil in your products at all, the tide has shifted, and then we're realizing that it's because our skin is dehydrated that we create acne. That's a great environment for pimples to grow. So dehydration can present as intuitively if your skin feels dry. However, if it's oily, it's also still dehydrated, and that's because your skin is overproducing oil because it's dehydrated. So it could be a combination dry and oily, or just oily or dry, and that is a clue that it's dehydrated. So what you need to do with your skincare routine, first thing I want to emphasize is hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Now, when I recommend skincare products, I do, and I won't give any specific recommendations for brands or whatnot. Don't believe a lot of the hype, and find something that's simple. First thing's fragrance free. That includes, even if it's a natural product, which is preferable, try to get one that doesn't have essential oils even. So fragrance free, preferably natural, but not necessarily all the time, as long as it's gentle on your skin. So the first step of skincare would be a gentle, non-drying cleanser. So try to find something that doesn't dry out your skin. The second thing would be a serum. So something that's very hydrating, again, fragrance free. Always going to emphasize that. Put the serum on after you cleanse. And then the third thing would be a moisturizer. And that can change depending on the climate. If you're in a hot, humid climate or a dry, cold climate, it can change. And throughout seasons, like we have in Canada, in the summertime it's very humid, so you want something lighter. And then in the fall, winter time, you want something a little bit thicker. Now, if you really like your moisturizer, you can use the same one a year through. And here's a tip. When it's fall and winter, you can add a couple of drops of what I like is jojoba oil, or what is commonly spelt jojoba, so people call it jojoba oil. And add a couple drops to your same moisturizer, mix it in, then apply it, and it gives an extra boost of hydration. So yes, there's things that are popular like the 10-step Korean skincare, which for some people might be a little too extreme, but we also don't want no-step skincare. So try to find something in the middle, and this is like a 3-4 step, and literally takes about 30 seconds to a minute as part of your routine. Do it twice a day. Second thing after skincare is, of course, tip number 2 is diet. And there's a lot of things we can get into with details about diet, but the big 2 things in your diet that you want to take care of are cutting out sugar and cutting out dairy. And this is what most of the research supports, is those 2 things. Dairy influences a hormone called insulin-like growth factor, which can influence hormones that exacerbate acne. And sugar, as we know, sugar spikes a lot of hormones in your blood sugars, and it used to be called, in the 1950s, acne was called diabetes of the skin. So it means that your skin's very sensitive to these sugar fluctuations. So be really careful about sugar intake. Okay, now the third tip is sleep. Make sure you're sleeping enough, because a lot of times we're chronically deprived of sleep. Even if we feel okay, it's not necessarily adequate for us. So if you're getting up for that 5 a.m. run, but it's at sacrifice of your sleep, I would say sleep first, then do your run, schedule it some other time in the day. Because if your cortisol levels, which is your stress hormone, are increased, that directly leads to breakouts. And that can be increased with stresses in your life, but it can be also increased with not properly sleeping or chemical stressors or physical stressors. So that leads me to tip number 4. On that note, also the stress hormone is we want to manage our stress. I can't emphasize this enough. Stress from almost all skin conditions and many other conditions, including digestive problems. We need to keep our stress in check. That could be downloading an app to help with meditation, or taking a course on mindfulness, whatever works best, or changing things in your life so they're not stressful, whether it's changing a job or changing your home situation, whatever it might be. Stress management is important, and your skin will reflect how your stress is internally because of that cortisol hormone. Okay, last one is tip number 5. Tip number 5 is supplements. So there are a lot of supplements online, and don't get into researching, through all these blogs where you're looking at, 20 different supplements that may help with your acne. There are some basic few that I like to put my patients on that I do see good results with, and there is some research to back these ones up. But I'm going to give you 2 today that are 2 of my favorites that I think are very effective for treating acne. The first one is zinc. Zinc picolinate is the best form. You want probably about 25 to 30 milligrams of zinc picolinate. Make sure you take it on a full stomach. You can feel nauseous if you take it when your stomach's empty. But what that does, it's purported to have effects of an antibacterial nature for your skin. But zinc, we also do know, is a cofactor for all your hormone metabolism. So hormones being broken down properly is influenced by zinc. And a lot of us are deficient in zinc, which is why zinc, I think is more of a hormone-related effect, because, again, this is all theory, but from research, it does show that taking zinc picolinate specifically at the amounts I suggested can help to decrease your acne. Second supplement I'd recommend is omega-3s. Now, you can do the good old fish oil capsules, the one I have here. Make sure it's in a high potency omega-3 fish oil if you're vegan or vegetarian. Thankfully, they have these plant-based options now that are derived from algae, which is what fish eat, and that's how you get your omega-3 equivalents that are very similar to fish oils. Now, those omega-3s are basically, again, hydrating your skin from the inside out, because the top layer of your skin is made up of cells just like the rest of your body. But don't forget, a lot of us, people who suffer from acne, know to drink a lot of water to hydrate those cells. However, remember, the outside coating of those cells is made up of fats. That cell membrane is made up of fats. So you have to have adequate intake of omega-3s in order to keep the integrity of the sac for the fluid that you're consuming, a lot of, to stay hydrated. So make sure you're having lots of water, but then also make sure you're taking adequate amounts of omega-3s, which is often what is overlooked. Please subscribe to my feed. I'm going to keep putting out some content for you. And give me a thumbs up, like down below. And there's also more information on our website about acne, which is also down below. Thanks so much, and good luck with all of those tips.